When you're looking for Whirlpool innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, will help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified Whirlpool appliances save you energy and money and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
Hi, I'm John Mallos. Welcome to this special edition of Connect With Me. On the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day, we're talking about criminals and to try to take criminals off the street. A special guest in our studio, no phone calls though, but we'll show you a couple of numbers where you can call in to turn these people in. Back with our program in a moment. And welcome back to our program here on the set of Connect With Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day. And today a special program, no phone calls, but we'll show you a couple of numbers. We'll put those up on the screen so you can call in and turn in any of the following fugitives. But you know, the last time we did a program like this, one guy actually turned himself in. I want to put his picture up on the screen. There he is. His name is Fernando Hinojosa. He is 49 years old, 5'2", about 160 pounds. He's a Hispanic male, and failure to register as a sex offender was the offense. And so what happened was his family members were watching Connect With Me on MeTV Fresno. They saw his picture. They told him he was on television. His face was plastered all over the place, and so he finally decided to turn himself in. We hope to have the same success rate here on today's program on Connect With Me. We're going to show you a phone number, but first, live in our studio now is Joe Basil. He's from the U.S. Marshals Service and the California Department of Corrections. He is a parole agent trying to take these people off the street. We do have Joe's cell number. Let's put that up on the screen real quick. You can get a pencil, a piece of paper, and write that number down. Let's leave that up there just for a moment. 559-351-2084. That's a direct line to his cell phone. If you take a picture of one of these guys, the parolees that we're going to show 3 of them on this day, then either text a photo, text him, call him, let him know that you have seen one or all of these 3 fugitives that we're going to show you today on the program. No phone calls, sorry about that, but call Joe if you see one of them. Back with Connect With Me in just a moment.
Don't you ever hit me again!
Chief, I think we got a hit on our hands.
MeTV Fresno, now on Comcast Channel 187.
We're here with our guy Joe Basil from the California Department of Corrections. He is a parole agent trying to take some people off the street. Very successful last time. In fact, let's put his picture up on the screen one more time. The guy that turned himself in, Hinojosa. He is Fernando Hinojosa. He turned himself in after his family members saw him on Connect With Me. There's Joe's number down there, 487-5543. He also has another number as well, which we'll put up on the screen. You can call in at 351-2084. That's Joe's direct number. We will talk about these people that we're trying to take off the street. Joe is here now. Good to see you. How are you?
Good. Thank you. I appreciate it. Happy to be here.
So I'm glad Hinojosa finally turned himself in. I guess this program and others do a world of good once you put their picture on the screen.
Absolutely. You know, the viewers are fantastic. They want to take back their neighborhoods. They want to help the police. And in this case, family members saw him on the news, and right away they told him. And I just happened to be in the parole office, and I saw him, and and he saw me, made eye contact, and he said, "You're the one." And I said, "Yeah, I'm the one, and I'm going to keep doing this until you go right and do the right thing." So he kind of chuckled a little bit, and he knows the game.
Why don't the criminals like their faces out there, either on television, in the newspaper, in the post office?
Well, the street version is putting their name and their face on blast. That's what they call it. Basically, it means that everybody is in their business, and they don't like anybody in their business because of their criminal background. And a lot of times, if it has to do with the worst of the worst, the child molesters and so forth, once that gets out there, then they could be injured or possibly killed.
They could be put in harm's way once
yes.
they're incarcerated?
Or even out on the streets. There is street justice that happens out there among the different criminal element.
So it's not really a myth. It's actually true that if you're a child molester and you go to prison or even jail temporarily or even out on the street, there is going to be retribution?
Absolutely.
Especially while you're incarcerated?
Yes.
It does happen?
Absolutely does.
You know that for a fact?
Yes. I've worked in the institutions for 10 years, worked the streets for 23 years, so it does happen.
Are the inmates looking to kill that individual?
Yes, absolutely.
In any way, shape, or form, right?
Usually it's
with
a badge of
homemade
honor.
Knife, right?
It's a badge of honor. Inside the institutions, there are inmate manufactured stabbing devices that you would call a knife, that they make out of anything that they can come up with, and that's what's used. And some of the yards on the prisons are segregated for just child molesters or sex offenders. And but
do the prisons try to protect them and keep them away from the other inmates?
Yes, there is a thing called protective custody where they try and keep everything on the down low, but it does get out.
Things happen, though.
Yes, it does.
You can't totally protect them.
No, you cannot.
Yeah, let's put the first one up on the screen. His name is Chester Royce. And you can talk about him. He's a fugitive on the run. He's 5 foot 11 inches tall. Talk about what we're seeing here and what this guy's wanted for.
Well, Chester Leon Royce, is on parole right now for failure to register as a sex offender. He paroled in 2010, and he either cut off his ankle monitor recently or just stopped reporting to his parole agent. He's a second termer, which means that he's already gone to prison once on a commitment offense, and then came out and did something over again, and now he's back in for failing to register. He has a criminal history with arrests and/or convictions for methamphetamine use, cocaine, marijuana, assault with a deadly weapon, resisting arrest, possession of a controlled substance, which are drugs, obviously, annoying and molesting children. He does receive Social Security as a benefit, and I don't know if that has to do with psychological or disability of some sort, but he does receive money for that. He
Do you know where those checks are going?
It's a lot of work to find out because of technology now. They don't even have to go to the bank anymore. They could get it using a debit card, so it's hard to track. Very hard to track.
Oh, really? So he cut his monitor off.
Yeah.
Is that an easy thing to do, or is
Yes,
it
it's
relatively difficult?
No, it's very easy. It could be a pair of scissors, could be a pair of pliers, or they could just let it go dead. They don't have to. If they just didn't charge it, it'll go dead, and then the device is no longer any good. But a lot of them try and keep it on just so that they're not charged with it for tampering with their GPS monitor once they're caught. That seems to be the route that they're going now. They're leaving it on, but they're just letting it die. And then when they're caught, they're saying, "Yeah, it just must have something must have happened," and which is not true.
So is it an added charge?
Yes, it can be. Yes, in fact, there's a new law that just came out regarding tampering with a GPS device, where they can be charged and actually get
more time.
Yes.
Get more time.
Yes.
So let's put this guy Royce's picture up on the screen one more time. Now, do you have family or friends that you know of where he might be hiding, or people might know where he is and they're not talking?
We believe that there is family in the Fresno area. However, most of the time he is transient, and when he was being supervised, he was usually at like the Parkway Drive motel area. A lot of the sex offenders are housed in the motels there. And so I don't know if the family has disowned him or if.
So you figure maybe this guy's living in a motel or perhaps even on the street?
Yes. When he was being supervised by his parole agent, most likely he was at a motel because that's where he would have to report to his agent that, hey, this is where I'm at, this is the address, and then the agent would go there to do home visits. But when they cut off their monitor or they stop reporting, the agent has to put the warrant in the system right away, and at that point they are unavailable for supervision because the agent doesn't know where they're at, and so at that point they're considered a fugitive.
He is a sex offender?
Yes.
He is?
Yes.
And been on the run for how long?
It looks like since February 18th, so he's not long.
Not long. And
yeah.
So a guy like this, he's 5'11", he's kind of hard to miss. I mean, a lot of times, and they will use some kind of camouflage gear to cover up mask their true identity.
Correct.
You know, what means do they have to do that? To wear a hat? What else?
Well, a lot of times we've seen, in fact, one of our other fugitives that we'll be talking about today likes to dye his hair. In the winter time when it's cold, they like to bundle up, and so it's a little more difficult for the fugitive team to locate these guys and to get a proper ID on them when we take them into custody. But a lot of times they could shave their mustache or beard.
That guy could easily do that. This
correct.
guy,
he
Royce.
Could dye his hair. He could shave his head completely. He could blend in the community quite easily, depending on what he does.
Change his name.
Sure, absolutely.
But
and we don't know the reason why he cut it off, but it could be that I've heard everything from a girlfriend having a baby to needed to go see their kids, and so they didn't want to be detected as to their whereabouts, and so they cut it off. They go take care of it, and then they turn themselves in for whatever reason, or they just get tired of being tied to a monitor.
There's something I just thought of, Joe. A guy like this who's transient, would he show up at a place like the Poverillo House, maybe?
Yes, absolutely.
So you would check a place like that?
Yes, we do.
Hey, have you seen this guy?
Yes, and they're very cooperative. Obviously, they don't want a big scene to disrupt their operation.
Right.
But yes, we arrest people there all the time.
Okay, we're talking with Joe Basil from the California Department of Corrections. He is a parole agent. We're trying to catch these criminals and take them off the street. Hey, if you're out there, you see yourself on TV, turn yourself into Joe Basil. We'll put the phone number up one more time after the break. We're coming back with our program in a moment.
Remember me?
After practicing law, Raymond Berg fought crime.
You have the right to an attorney.
As a hard-boiled detective on wheels,
Ain't it the truth?
his name is Ironside.
Perhaps you wouldn't mind saying it again.
His name is Ironside.
All right, now you've said it.
Nothing slows him down.
I want to see this one firsthand.
Now on MeTV Fresno, Xfinity 187.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Watching us here on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. And, remember that program on NBC years ago with Chris Hansen, To Catch a Predator?
Yes.
That's off the air now, of course, but it did a lot of good.
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of the people that they profiled, I just looked at and shook my head, and I was like, man, these are the type of individuals that we deal with.
Yeah, but these were some of these people that were showing up to have sex with an underage person, a girl usually, okay? They were upstanding members of the community. You had some people that worked in a DA's office or firemen or even law enforcement people.
Yes, and you would think that that they would have to have a lengthy criminal history, but they don't. Sometimes they get caught up in the system based off of one conviction, and so that's where it starts, and it just it's.
I mean, how many walk through there that you saw that worked in corporate America? For goodness sake.
Yeah, it's
in a
pretty
three-piece
sad.
suit, they'd show up and say, "Oh, I just got off work."
Yeah.
So what are you here for?
Yeah. I really wasn't going to do it once.
Yeah. Caught red-handed. No, I'm not. I'm just here to say hello.
Yeah.
Okay. Next criminal that we're trying to get off the street here is John Herman Ortega. Let's put his picture up on the screen here and describe him, if you will.
Well, John Ortega, I actually arrested him about 6 months ago, and we went to a family's residence in Lindsay, California, and they were very cooperative. And as soon as I made contact with him, he acted a little bit bizarre, and so
In what way?
Well, it was obvious that he had
maybe on something. Or?
No, it was obvious that he needed to be on something, some type of psychological medication. And it was a long ride back to the Fresno County Jail because there were some conversations going on that I was not partaking in, and so in other words, he was talking to himself and laughing, and so the first thing when we get to the jail, we have to get him medically cleared and get him on the proper medication. So
here's another guy that cut off his GPS.
Yeah, and he could be in Fresno with family. I would think that family would get a little bit they get tired of him because it's a lot of work. When a person has
hide somebody?
No, just to because of the bizarre behavior.
Okay.
And he is on for indecent exposure. So I'm not saying that it's not a serious crime, but I mean this could be due to his mental.
Was he near a school when he was doing this, or just
No.
in the general public?
In the general public.
Yeah.
And so when we got him back to the prison, or excuse me, the Fresno County Jail, we booked him in, and I did have a conversation with family, and they said this is what we're dealing with. He needs to be incarcerated, institutionalized, and be put on medication so we can get him on the.
He has some mental issues.
Correct.
In your opinion?
Yes.
Okay. All
And
right.
the sad part is that. The city, the state, there's not a lot of money to keep these guys in and get them on their medication, so it's a big revolving door.
It also said there up on the screen on his photo there that he could be hiding out in Visalia.
Yeah, in the Lindsay area.
Yeah, in the Lindsay area there. And the Lindsay is a pretty good place you can hide out. It's not
Yes.
easy to get to in Lindsay.
Yes.
You've got winding roads to get in there, but he's about 5'6", 150 pounds. How long has he been on the run now, roughly speaking?
I would say about 6 months, it looks like. About 6 months. And unfortunately, as soon as we find him, if he's not charged with failing to register, and if they do charge him with it and it doesn't stick, then he'll be right back out.
So if you get caught for indecent exposure, as John Herman Ortega did, do you have to register as a sex offender?
Once you're convicted, and part of the conviction will describe the sex offense, and if you are required to register.
Okay.
And so
we
would
won't
know.
know that. We won't know that yet. Oh.
He is, by law, supposed to register. So
Okay.
he's obviously not. Now, whether the mental capacity has anything to do with whether they'll prosecute or not, I don't know.
Tell me about some of the cases that you work, because you work so many at a time. How do you keep I know that's kind of a dumb question, but how do you keep track of all of these fugitives that are out there at one time? You must be working on several different cases.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I don't know if I've mentioned before, I'm part of the U.S. Marshals Pacific Southwest Regional Fugitive Task Force, and so we're working federal cases with the U.S. Marshals as well as state cases with parolees. We also handle basic warrants. Any warrants that anybody's wanted for, we usually will handle it.
Yeah.
Crime Stoppers, that type of deal. America's Most Wanted, when that show was on, we would get tips for fugitives that are wanted nationally, and we work those. So yeah, a lot of now the way things are, it seems like we're arresting the same people over and over and over, and so we're getting to know them, but they're also getting to know us.
Here's a question. The first two that we put up, they've been incarcerated before. Why are they on the loose again? Is it our system? They just
It's our
let them
system.
go?
It's broke. The system is broke. There's
Why
no
are
money
they out?
because there's no money to keep them incarcerated. There's no room in the jails. There's
Prison
it costs
realignment have anything to do with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just nobody wants to build any more prisons, and it takes money to do that, or it takes money to keep building jails and to keep going after them. So I'll be honest, the criminals are laughing at us right now. They're laughing at the community. They're laughing at the police because they know they're going to be out in 4 hours, and so they basically have the key to the city.
All right, let me ask you a legitimate question that somebody out there watching the show might say, okay, I saw this guy on the street. He was across the street from. I'm going to call it in. He'll be okay. Somebody might be saying to themselves, what's the point? He's going to be out in 4 hours.
Well, I get that a lot, and what it is it's kind of like a what's the easiest way to explain it? I would have to say that the more they are arrested, you throw something at the wall enough times, hopefully it sticks one time.
Yeah.
And there's a history. Every time they're arrested, there's a history. And so we might arrest them for drugs, and they'll let them out. Well, they still have to go to court on that. And if they don't, there's another warrant that goes out for failure to appear.
Yeah.
And when they keep doing that, pretty soon all that backs up. And then when they do go before the judge, finally, that's when the judge puts down the hammer and says, you know what, you've gone too far now.
It's a shame we got to go through it so many times, though, because it costs us extra money, the taxpayer.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, all right. Joe Basil is here from the U.S. Marshals and the California Department of Corrections. He's a parole agent, and, I wouldn't want his job. I like mine right here. Anyway, no phone calls today. A special edition of Connect with Me. We're trying to catch these criminals and take them off the street. If you see any of them, we'll put up Joe's number once again. He's got a cell number directly to him. Yeah, you can put it up, no problem. There it is at area code 559-351-2084. We're back with our program here on Connect with Me in just a moment.
And just FYI.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Whirlpool appliances we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Touch the new Whirlpool Ice Collection. It offers a modern style made to create an inspiring kitchen experience. Save big on this Whirlpool Black Ice or White Ice kitchen. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
All right, we're trying to get these criminals off the street here on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. Joe Basil is here, and so who is more likely to call in, a younger or an older person?
An older. Definitely an older, because they've been through it, they've been there, done that. They know they're trying to, they've raised their kids, and they're trying to get their life in order. And it's the younger generation is just too focused in on trying to get things going in their life, and it's just really not important to them unless they become a victim.
Yeah.
Cell phones, they're focused in on their cell phones, oblivious to what's going on around them. But the older folks, the older generation, seniors are.
You know what you
into
can
this.
do if you see one of these guys on the street is take a picture of him with your cell phone. Text it to you, for God's sake. And here he is at the corner of,
The public does ask me when they see me out there. They say, "What can we do?" And I say, "The best. Don't get involved other than to be the best witness. Try and get license plate numbers." Clothing description.
Don't chase them down?
No, absolutely not.
Why?
Let us
Why?
do it, because it's liability.
Okay.
Liability, and it is crazy out there.
But you're going to get someone who's going to try to do that, maybe.
Yes.
You never know, because
hopefully they don't get hurt.
if you see them one minute, they're gone the next. So
Yeah.
they're quickly gone. And I'm not advocating that. I'm advocating what Joe is saying. Don't go after them. Just call law enforcement. They're trained to deal with these kinds of situations. So don't take matters into your own hands, so to speak. Next person we're going to try to take off the street is Roger Lee Stankiewicz. He is a Native American, 5'7" tall, black and or brown hair, brown eyes, depending on what day of the week it is, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be black, could be brown.
Well, he's the one that I was talking about that changes his hair color.
Okay.
So he is considered a cross-dresser at some point.
Okay.
He does. He's hard to find.
So he could be dressed as a female or
Yes.
a male?
Yes.
We just don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's. I've arrested one time before, maybe twice up
Okay.
in the mountains. But when I did catch him the last time near Tulare and First, I almost didn't recognize him because he didn't look like this picture.
Yeah, and it looks like he's cut off his GPS as well.
Yes.
Very typical, common practice. By the way, the telephone number at the bottom of your screen right there is 487-5543. If you call that number as well, I know we put up a couple of different numbers here, but that one there transfers directly to Joe Basil's cell phone, so you can call either number. It doesn't really matter. So if you see this, person, I should say, on the street, I was going to say man or woman, but he is a man that cross-dresses. So how long has he been out on the street?
I've been
roughly
looking for him
speaking?
about 6 months now, and he does frequent the Jose Basin Mono Wind Casino area. He's got family up there. And then Tulare and First area, that's where I got him the last time. He does have relatives in that general area. Mostly he's on foot, walking liquor stores in that general area. But
have you checked with any of the casinos to see if they've seen this guy?
We have before. I haven't on this round because
are they cooperative?
Sometimes.
And sometimes
not. As soon as we come over into the canyon, Jose Basin, the word is spread out that we're in the area, and there's a lot of places to hide. So,
right.
And it's really sad because, when the warrant goes in the system, their time stops. So, it could be a long time until they get off parole because they.
Why wouldn't they want to help you get a guy like this off the street? They just don't want to get involved?
They just don't want to get involved. Family doesn't want to get involved because they have to live with these people, and a lot of them just have a negative perception of law enforcement because of past history with dealing with law enforcement.
You're talking about Native Americans and
Correct.
The casinos up there. And, maybe someone might say, well, why would you want to turn in one of your own? I'm sure that
Yes.
enters into it too, right?
Yes.
What kind of situations have you gotten yourself into? Shootouts?
Yes, I've
dangerous
been in
situations?
been a couple so far. In fact, I've got a year left. I'll have 25 years in, and I'm getting tired. These bags under my eyes are for a reason because it's been a long. I've worked in the prisons and I've worked the streets, and I just I get people out there, the viewers, they don't realize what goes on in the Central Valley on a daily basis. It's happening all day, every day. And it's rough out there. There's a lot of bad things going on out there, and I'd love to be positive. There's a lot of good things going on, but
right.
it is methamphetamine is a very, very bad drug, and it's.
Is that the number one drug of choice? Is it meth?
I would say it's one of, but alcohol is another. Bad. It's a drug. I mean, I don't drink
Right.
because of what I see, what alcohol does to people. It's just, it makes people mean. It makes them
Right.
violent. Meth does the same thing.
Recently, we had Flynn Anderson on here, and he runs an organization that tries to get kids and other people off painkillers, prescription drugs. Have you found that that's a problem too? Overdosing on some of those pain medications?
No, mostly we deal with the street level narcotics because
Okay.
most of the people that we're dealing with are transients, and if they are taking
offenders, really?
yes,
I mean, repeat offenders.
absolutely repeat offenders. Now the ones that are taking the prescription medication, maybe they're living with family, but we don't normally see that because they're usually into any kind of drug that's available to them.
Right. And when you approach a suspect, tell us your technique, if you will. You got to approach them as if they're armed and dangerous?
Well, like for example, if we're looking for a fugitive and we've identified that that's who they are, then our team usually, we're all undercover. We try and do it as safely as possible.
Right.
We wear law enforcement attire marked, and we have to consider the public around us. And we basically get enough bodies to where we can surround them, and whether they're in a vehicle or in a house, we take every safety cautionary measure that we can, and we do whatever it takes to get them into custody safely.
All right, let's put the three up one more time. We have about a minute left. Let's start with Chester Royce and go down the list. Three that we're trying to take off the street today. If you see these people, just call in at that number 487-5543. It rolls right into Joe Basil's cell phone, John Herman Ortega, and of course Roger Lee Stankiewicz. And that's going to do it for our show today. I appreciate Joe Basil coming on. And let's put Joe's cell number up one more time before we go. Let's put that up quickly now. I know we gave you two phone numbers, but that's the cell number, 351-2084. I hope we have as much success as we did last time, Joe. I appreciate you coming on, and you come on again.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Love to be here.
All right, Joe, you're welcome anytime. Joe Basil, U.S. Marshals Service, and also California Department of Corrections. He's a parole agent. If you see any of those criminals on the street, you can call Joe Basil directly. That's going to do it for us today on Connect with Me. See you again tomorrow for another edition of Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno.
like me?
Just like me.
Like MeTV Fresno on Facebook. Get the latest news, interact with others, watch videos, become a fan of me. Exclusively brought to you by Ventura TV.